Imagine millions of people in the streets, not for a festival, not for a victory parade, but demanding their basic rights, dignity, and a future. What began as frustration over prices and shortages has now become one of the largest anti-government movements in Iran. Since 2022, this is not just a protest. This is a story of economic collapse, government crackdowns, digital censorship, and a population that refuses to stay silent. Part 1. The Root of Anger. The 2025 to 2026 protests erupted on December 28, 2025. In Tehran's Grand Bazaar, the economic heart of the country. For years, Iran's economy had been under crushing pressure. International sanctions, internal mismanagement, falling oil revenues. By late 2025, inflation had crossed 50%. The Iranian rial lost massive value. Everyday essentials became unaffordable. Food, medicine, rent, these weren't just numbers on a chart. They were stealing dignity, stability, and hope from millions. When bazaar merchants shut their shops in protest, it sent a powerful message, and it ignited a movement. Part 2. How the protests spread. What started in one commercial district quickly turned into a nationwide uprising. Demonstrations erupted in over 100 cities across all provinces. Students, workers, shopkeepers, retirees, all on the streets together. At first, people protested prices, but soon the slogans changed, from economic pain to political anger. Crowds began openly criticizing Iran's leadership and demanding change. Despite freezing temperatures and constant danger, people returned to the streets day after day. Because this was no longer about food, it was about the future. Part 3. State response and crackdown. The government responded fast and brutally. Security forces were deployed across cities, live ammunition, tear gas, mass arrests, beatings, intimidation. Within days, reports emerged of dozens killed, including young people, thousands detained, hospitals overwhelmed with the injured. Human rights groups accused authorities of using excessive and illegal force against civilians. The streets of Iran were no longer just filled with chants. They were filled with fear and blood. Part 4. Internet blackouts and information war. As protests grew, the government moved to control the narrative. On January 8, 2026, a nationwide internet blackout was imposed. Millions were suddenly cut off. No social media, no messaging apps, no live footage leaving the country. Officials claimed it was for security. Rights groups called it what it really was, a weapon. To stop coordination, to hide violence, to silence the people. At the very moment the world needed transparency, Iran went dark. Part 5. Symbols of defiance. But even in darkness, resistance found its voice. Powerful images spread before the blackout. Women burning or defacing images of leadership. Students chanting in universities. Entire marketplaces closed in solidarity. One viral image showed women lighting cigarettes using a photo of the supreme leader, a shocking act in Iran. Not just protest, but open defiance. These moments were more than gestures. They were declarations. Fear was breaking. Part 6. Political implications. These protests are no longer only about the economy. They are about power. Calls for regime change are now heard in multiple cities. Opposition figures abroad have urged unity. Inside Iran, top leaders and courts have answered with threats of severe punishment. This has created a dangerous standoff. A population that feels it has nothing left to lose, and a government determined not to lose control. What happens next could reshape Iran's political future for decades. Conclusion: what this means. The Iranian protests of 2025 to 2026 began with inflation and hunger. But they evolved into something much bigger. Nationwide demand for accountability, freedom, dignity, and change. History shows us one truth again and again. When economic collapse meets political suppression, silence does not last forever.